Hey, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the Lane Splitter by Christenson Surfboards. So this is the initial thoughts, which we put together when we kind of first get aboard, surfed it once or twice, got a few waves on it, and our initial thoughts and feelings. Also a chance for people to give some feedback about fins or anything else they recommend for the board or would like to see in the full review, which will come out shortly. So this is the Lane Splitter. It's a stock Lane Splitter. I grabbed it off the rack at Onboard store in Sydney, Australia. And the thing is absolutely epic. So it's a stock 5.9, it's 5.9, 20 and an eighth by 2.5, and it's pretty hard to get volumes on some Christenson surfboards, but I think it is 30.8 litres. So it's pretty much my shortboard volume, but it paddles really, really well. It feels like volume's in all the right places. So looking over the Christenson Lane Splitter, it's a pure twin. There's no room for a stabilizer, center fin, there's no mucking around. This is a twin fin. It's got a very kind of 80s outline and feel. The rail, kind of a really flat deck that kind of drops away really nicely, especially through this front, and kind of gets a bit square before it has this nice little, semi-fly kind of hip that pulls it into a nice kind of tight tail. Also has a beak nose, which is really cool. It's only a kind of light beak, but what that allows is a lot of volume to sit up the front of the board, under your chest, under your front foot. So the board is really easy to paddle. Feels like it has more foam than it does, but that's because I think it's just in all the right places. And it also lets it have, it's a really fast board, especially if you get a bit of a wave where you can go down the line. And I think all that foam under your front foot definitely adds to it. Flipping over the Lane Splitter, it's pretty interesting. I couldn't quite work out what was going on in the bottom. Most boards have a single concave. That's probably the most general concave in surfboards, especially in the front of a board, and it might change for the tail. But it feels like there's almost like the double starts up quite high, almost a V. It's quite pronounced from about that Christenson logo. So about a third down the board, you can feel the stringer kind of start to come up a bit. And then it actually gets quite deep as it comes through the fins there. It's quite a significant, it feels like a V with a double, like it feels like the stringer is higher than the rail line, but I don't have a rule edge to measure that out. But if you can see that there, you might be able to see how the stringer sits quite high, and that double concave between the fins there is pretty deep. And then when it comes out the tail, it actually flattens out a little bit. There's still, it feels like a bit of a V, or that double is continuing out the back of the tail, but it isn't as aggressive or pronounced as it is up here, in that area between the fins and just in front of the fins. So I've surfed the Lane Splitter a bit. I'm a big fan. I found it actually pretty hard to get off. I didn't think I'd be so frothing on a pure twin that isn't like a fish style board, and I didn't think I'd be wanting to ride it everywhere. My first surf on it was actually pretty interesting. I'm not one to go by forecasts these days because I really feel like they let you down, and this one did big time. I thought the waves, I was going to surf early, get there in the dark. I thought it was kind of going to be in like the waist to shoulder high range. The winds were good. There's been a good little right rip bowl where I live, and I thought this would be a really fun board. I woke up to waves in kind of the 5 to 6 foot range, big, heavy right hand wedges, barreling. It was absolutely pumping. Like, I think it's the best day of waves I've had where I live, or maybe anywhere, for probably last 12, 18 months, maybe longer. First few waves on this were a bit funny. I wasn't quite sure. It's a twin, it's pretty loose. Like, I am used to twins that have a stabilizer or more of a keel fin, which has more area and gives a little bit more hold. So, I did some turns where I'd kind of pop out of the water. The board felt really fast. And then I just got this one wave where I actually got this really good barrel. I didn't come out at the end, it just kind of kept traveling. But the board it felt mental. It was a very high performance twin fin, and it really did feel at home after I kind of got used to it, after, the first half a dozen or so waves. It felt at home in some bigger and pumping surf. And I guess it's a tale of two stories there, because the next day surfed again, and the waves were 2 foot onshore, right rip bowl, and the thing was on fire. I was like, oh, it went so well in pumping waves, maybe it's a high performance, good wave twin fin. But no, I was surfing a wave, kind of in the waist high range, maybe up to chest high, dribbly onshore winds, but I had a bit of run on it. You could do a few turns, and the thing felt mental. That volume and that beak, holding all that volume under the chest, I was paddling into absolutely everything. Like I said, it's 30.8 litres, so this sits about around the same as my shortboard volume. So there's not like a whole lot of extra volume to surf like average and small waves, but it paddled really, really well. Turning it, it felt really alive, it felt really loose. But I must say, something I did struggle with a little bit, and I'm still getting used to, there is not a center stabilizer fin, and the rail line breaks significantly with this flyer. So what I found is if I do like a wrap and I'd really kind of snap out the end of the turn, the board would almost jump out of the water. Like I think I was pushing it a little bit because it kind of was fun to do. But yeah, that was definitely some getting used to. And I've surfed it a few times since then and started to film some surfs on it and stuff like that. And I'm kind of starting to work that out. It doesn't really enjoy that. You can slide it and kind of control it, but if you push too hard, and I'm pretty heavy at like, 92 kilos, so I'm putting a lot of weight and pressure on the back, but yeah, without like a stabilizer, and like I said, that break in the rail line, it feels like there's a lot of hold through this kind of edge, but then it's very easy to get very loose. And I think if you're a really good surfer and could kind of get, fins free into air reverses, this thing would be so easy to do that. But I think my years and days of that have come and gone. So yeah, but anyway, lane splitter, big fan so far. And what we'll do is we'll put out a full review in the coming weeks. And if you have any questions or comments, put them below or hit us up on Instagram at the Surfboard Guide. We've been lucky enough, FCS have given us the new Christenson upright twin. So I got the board in FCS because Futures don't have a Christenson specific fin. I think Captain Finco do in the Futures tab. But FCS have just released a bunch of fins with Christenson. I think there's this, there might be a keel. I also know there's a single fin. And I wanted to check the fin out. Fin's been absolutely epic. I also put it in a few other boards and it's felt really good. So I thought it was good to kind of put the two together. I don't think it's specifically designed for the lane splitter, but it definitely feels at home in this board. Look, overall, feels really good. Frothing to get some footage on it and get the full review together, which we'll have to you guys really shortly. But again, if you have any questions, thinking about any fins you'd like to see in the review, yeah, we'll put some footage together. But yeah, hit us up at the Surfboard Guide on Instagram or just comment below. Anyway, thanks so much for watching.